Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the Dallas Wings, my WNBA franchise here on NBA 2K26 as we got a pretty long action-packed episode for you guys today, so let's not waste any time. Let's get into the first game of the episode where the 5-23 Dallas Wings will travel to Indiana to face the 16-16 Indiana Fever, and this is an action-packed episode because not only do we have our two games to go through, but we also have the trade deadline, and we're actually going to sim quite a few games at the end of this one post-trade deadline. So a lot to get through today. But if you're excited for all this as we get ready to wrap up year number 1, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more MyWNBA content. But back to the teams at hand. We got the Wings, who are the worst team in the league. 5-27 is a pretty abysmal record. While the Fever sit at 500, and they're a team you could look at with the trade deadline approaching to try to make a move and capitalize off of their star players. Now, the Fever have dominated this series this season 3-0, but it is the Bueckers-Clark showdown, so these two will always prove for some fireworks as we're here at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse as we are underway. The 33rd game of the season for the Wings. With this one, they'll be 75% done with the season, as the first points will come off of a mid-range from Kelsey Mitchell. On the other end, the Wings will get their first points from Paige Bueckers, averaging 23 points per season. She's surely going to be the Rookie of the Year. Pass over to Uru for a long two. She knocks it down. Uru is by nature a stretch 5. I don't think, lean into that enough because we play the pick and roll so much with Paige, including right here, who gets the layup. Ogunbowale goes up. She misses. Rebounded by Aaliyah Boston. Now the Fever are out and running. They find Sophie Cunningham in the corner for 3, and she knocks it down. And just like that, the Fever trail by 1. Comes a drive here for the Wings. Hines Allen from the mid-range knocks it down. A couple of long jumpers in the early going for the Wings. Paige tries her hand at one, but she will miss as Boston with the rebound. Swings it over to Kelsey Mitchell, who gets inside and finds Boston on the other end of the court. Aaliyah Boston's an all-star this year. She's having a MVP almost type season. It is a two-player race with Wilson and Collier, but Boston's got a lot of third-place votes, so something to keep in mind for the Fever. As here's Kelsey Mitchell again, who was named to her 4th All-Star appearance this season. She has the Fever down by 1. Bueckers now drives past Clark, and she'll finish at the point of attack. Paige is off to a hot start, while Clark is still looking for her first points of the game. Here she is here. It's a long 3, and she will miss, but Boston will get the rebound, and she'll put it up and in. Wings have struggled with the rebounding, specifically boxing out this season, and Boston puts it on display there. But there's a nice pass for Segrist to get the points right back. 14-11, Mitchell will tie it up with a straightaway 3. Kelsey Mitchell leading the way for the Fever. Is here with the shot clock winding down. Harris will answer right back with the defender right in front of her. Tasha Harris hits the 3, and that'll be the difference makers. The Wings lead after a quarter of play. The score of 19-16 and what's been a pretty back-and-forth contest and proving to be a close one after a frame. Into the second quarter we go. A slow start as we only had 2 points in the first 3 minutes of the quarter. Marika Ogunbowale will get on the board there. There's Boston inside working on Giselle Soder, and she will do just that. Aaliyah Boston, the 2023 Rookie of the Year, #1 overall pick out of South Carolina, puts it up and in. As here's a nice drive inside. Good defense by Ogunbowale at the rim. She with the outlet pass to James to Giselle Soder, who will finish. And that's just good baseline to baseline basketball. And the Wings lead by 5. Clark step back 3. She's got it. And Caitlin Clark is on the board finally. Took about 15.5 minutes, but Clark is in the scorebook. 25-23. Ogunbowale gets to the rack. I'm interested to see how she plays. She's had a down season. We'll see what her fate is with the deadline approaching. Hines Allen loses it on the drive, and she's hurt, and that's unfortunate because she just came back from injury, and she looks like she's going to be heading right back to the injured list. A very injury-riddled season for her, as now we inbound the ball off the injury, and it's going to result in Paige hitting a 3 ball. Cunningham looks to answer right back. She can't. Uru with the rebound over to Paige. Going to try to push the pace quickly. Crosses up Mitchell. Step back 3. Knocks it down. What a move by Paige. Did it back-to-back 3s. Now the Wings lead by 10. As now Mitchell's blocked to the basket. Maddie Segrist with a rejection. Indiana hasn't scored in 2+ minutes. And on the other end with the matchup, Uru misses her layup, but gets her own rebound and puts it up and in. The Fever have to call a timeout. The Wings all of a sudden lead by 12. They're looking for their 6th win of the season. They're looking good early on. Nice mid-range there by Mitchell to try to slow the momentum, and Fever are within the double figures. It goes right back to that as Tasha Harris, the former Connecticut Sun, hits the mid-range. And we'll go to the end of the first half where the Dallas Wings are in control. They lead this one 37-29 over Indiana, looking for their first win against the Fever this season as they've shot the ball very well compared to the Fever's 35%. Boston leads the way for Indiana with 14 and already 9 rebounds, while Paige's 12 points leads the way for the Wings, and Clark with only 3 points in the first half. Going into the second half here's Bueckers with it, as she will go inside for Uru with a nice pick and roll, but is blocked by Boston. But Boston's actually hurt on the rejection, and that allows Lee Uru to put it up and in with no problem. That's a storyline to watch out, as the Fever are going to have to call a timeout and get Boston checked out. She'll come out of the game here as now a 10-point lead for the Wings. Ogunbowale drives inside and she scores. It's a nice move by the veteran. 41-29 now your score. A 12-point lead as Clark off the off-ball screen will hit the 3. Her second tray ball of the day. Next possession here for the Fever. Cunningham over to Clark. This is a deep 3, and Clark hits nothing with the bottom of the net. The Rookie of the Year last year from the University of Iowa with the #1 pick getting going as James inside gets met at the rim and misses. Cunningham with the board, swings over to Clark in the corner for 3, and she's got a hat trick. 3 straight threes for Clark. She is coming to the third quarter on fire. 41-38 now, make it 43-38 as Uru gets inside off the pick and roll. 5-point game now over to Turner, back over to Mitchell, some miscommunication, and there's another 3 ball. It's a downtown onslaught from the Fever. That time it was Kelsey Mitchell. 2-point lead here. Bueckers will extend it back to 4 as she gets inside, where she's done so much damage today. Already 14 points. Pick and roll inside. Here's Natasha Howard, who gets to the basket. The 2019 Defensive Player of the Year and former Dallas Wing will get to the rack. 2-point lead here. Howard on the post, work on a Harris inside for Boston, who's back in the game, and she gets an and 1. So not only are Indiana going to tie it, they're going to take the lead. 46-45 as Segrist misses the layup. She gets her own board. Nice pump fake, and Dallas will take the lead right back. This game got a lot more interesting after what was a 12-point lead for the Wings. Uru matched up against Clark inside, and she will win that battle. Taking advantage of the mismatch, 12 points for Lee Uru. Pick and roll there for Boston. That's the matchup Indiana loves to see. Their past 2 #1 overall picks working well on the pick and roll. 49-48, Bueckers off the screen, hits a 3 of her own. She says she can hit the tray ball as well. It's a 4-point lead here for the Wings, but Clark going to get open, and she's going to answer with another one of her own. Caitlin Clark, 12 points in the quarter, all off 3s. All 15 of her points are actually off 3s. 54-53, make it 56-53 as now Bueckers is into takeover mode as Paige and Clark go tit for tat. There's a nice rebound by Kelsey Mitchell, who misses, but Boston with another rebound swings it over to Hull, who misses again. And Lee Uru with the rebound. That got scary a little bit. On the outlet pass, Bueckers drives inside, and she will finish with the right hand. 58-53, that'll be the score after 3 quarters. Dallas holds on to a 5-point lead. Indiana threatening, though. Even had the lead for a couple of stints, but the Wings have pushed it back out to 5. Final quarter we go. Ogunbowale, who's nursing an injury, mind you, as she'll dish inside for Gisela Solter. Interesting call to have Enrique lead the unit right now, considering she's dealing with some minor injuries, as there's Kelsey Mitchell able to get open off the ball. She knocks down the 3, and now on the next possession, Cunningham drives to her right, 3, and she hits as well, and the Fever have shot themselves right back into this game. 60-59 now your score. McDonald working on Harris off the pick and roll, and she gets to Timpson, who puts it up and in. Indiana again has the lead, 61-60 again. Ogunbowale's leading the Union right now, and nothing against her, but she's not at 100%, as she can't keep up with Mitchell, who hits another 3, and Indiana leads 64-60. Finally, the starters back in. Bueckers on the pick and roll will find Gisela Solter, and that'll stop the bleeding a little bit. There's a nice tip pass, but it ends up right in the hands of Sophie Cunningham. That's unlucky for the Wings. 66-62 now. Miller off the pick and roll, and Diamond Miller will get to the basket. Haven't called her name today. 2-point lead here for the Fever. Over to Mitchell for three. Harris sags off, and he can't do that. Kelsey Mitchell is white hot right now, and she's putting Indiana up in front. It's been all Mitchell in the fourth quarter. As Bueckers off the pick and roll finds Giesel Soder. Dallas will stay within a possession with about 4 minutes left to go. Here's Bueckers again getting inside, and it's a 1-point game. Bueckers back in takeover mode, putting the team on her back. 25 points. Another tip ball ends up in the hands of Cunningham again, and she scores. A couple of tip balls going the way of Indiana as they push their lead out by 3. Bueckers now with it in takeover mode. You got to trust her here. She drives inside, and that's beautiful finishing. Getting right to the basket. 27 now for Paige. 71-70 your score. Mitchell for three. You can't sag off of her as she hits another three ball. Harris, you got to play tighter on her. Here's Mitchell again, this time on the outlet pass, spinning inside. She can finish at the basket as well. Indiana now leads 76-70, their largest lead in quite some time, and we're inside 3 minutes. Bueckers will get 2 right back, though, finishing with the right hand at the basket. Just got to get some defensive stops. Clark now with it, working on Bueckers. She drives by, and she will get the friendly touch this time. Caitlin Clark's first points that aren't beyond the arc. 78-72, 2 minutes to go inside for Uru, and that'll cut it back to within 4. The Wings try to keep pace, but you got to get some defensive stops. They got one there. Now they get the ball back, and Bueckers off the drive will score, and it's within 2 points with a minute and a half to go. It's an exciting finish here at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The fans packed, sold out on their feet. Clark working on Seagrass here. Step back long, 2, and she knocks it down. What a play. For the first team All-WNBA player in just her first season last year. Bueckers, though, will drive faster and get 2 points back. Shot clock is off as there's 22.5 seconds, and we will watch the foul game take place and see if the Wings can get a missed free throw and get back in this game. Cunningham will inbound it. Next foul will send him to the free throw line, and it will be Kelsey Mitchell who goes to the free throw line, not Clark. The Fever trust the hot hand, and it's Kelsey Mitchell. First free throw is up and in, and it's now a 3-point game. Another one will push it to a 2-score game as Mitchell will hit, and it's 82-78. Wings will call a timeout to advance the ball and take it on the other side of the court. 20 seconds left. Inbounds for Bueckers here. Gets the screen from Ryuru. Drives right side as a pass to the basket. Meets Boston, and she misses, and the Fever will rebound it. And that'll do it for this one. Indiana will come back and win this game 85-78. What is a tough loss for the Dallas Wings. They led for 3 quarters. Dominated the first half into the third quarter, but then Indiana came roaring back on the back of their threes as they shot 32% from beyond the arc. And that was the difference maker as they beat Dallas, stopping us again as they complete the 4-0 series on the season. Indiana only had 6 players score baskets, and Timpson had 2. Just all on the back of their stars, and, well, it's unacceptable. We got to play better. Got to play better defense, got to score more other than Paige's 33 as we lose another one. Fortunately, Maisha Hines-Allen will sprain her right wrist, will keep her out for a couple of weeks. That's another injury. And Enrique Gobawali strained her left hip. She's out for 2 to 4, maybe even towards the end of the season. Another score on the night is the Liberty beat the Sparks in overtime, 82-72. And then the next day, the Sky beat the Sun. We see the Mystiques knock off the Valkyries. Aces won a close one against the Liberty. And then the Dream dominate the Storm, 75-50. As that'll take us to the trade deadline of the season. And here's how the Wings look. We're 5-28, but somehow we're still contending. I doubt it. I guess we don't want to sell the farm just yet. And I understand that. But here's a look at the standings. But the one thing about the WNBA is 8 out of 13 teams make it. So a lot of teams are still technically contenders. There's not a lot of big names that are going to be on the move. And unfortunately, there hasn't been any trades between the CPU teams. So it's going to be up to us to make a couple of nice moves around the league and kind of spice things up. Realistically, that is. As far as the Wings, surprisingly, we're not going to be making any trades at the deadline because, frankly, we don't really have any players that warrant a lot of interest. I'm not really trying to sell out on a lot of players yet. I'm going to wait for the off-season to make our big moves. The only name I had on my radar was Aaliyah Edwards, thanks to her ties from Paige at UConn, but there's going to be no offers for her. So let's go around the league, and we'll go through the trades of today's episode. Starting off with Marina Mabrey. She asked for her trade request at the beginning of the season, and she's not let up. And a team that she's been linked to is the Seattle Storm, and a 3-team trade will go down between the Storm, the Sun, and the Liberty. Mabrey is going to Seattle for a first-round pick in Lexi Brown and Isabel Harrison from the Liberty, while the New York Liberty will be getting Jordan Holston in a third-round pick. This matches the salaries, which is why the Liberty are part of this trade. Mabrey gets a new home in Seattle, who needs some more depth, in my opinion, and then the UConn Sun get the first-round pick. The next move is an interesting one. The Mystiques are going to be parting ways with Shakira Austin to Indiana for Sophia Cunningham in a first-round pick. The Fever needed a true center, and they get one in Shakira Austin, who is a good player. The Mystiques want another first-round pick, and they get some veteran help in Sophie Cunningham to help spread the floor with Citron and Iriafin in their young core. And they get a first-round pick next year that's top 3 protected, but I have a feeling that's probably not going to be in the top 3. The last trade is the big one. Kelsey Plum in the offseason was traded to the Sparks, but it hasn't fully worked out. She's had a good season, but the Sparks sit at 500, and instead of going for the title, they're going to trade her while her capital is at its highest, and she's going to go to the Chicago Sky. Angel Reese has made a lot of noise about wanting a playoff contender, and one thing Chicago is missing is a true point guard. So they go out and they get Kelsey Plum from the Sparks, sending back Courtney Vandersloot, Camila Cardosa, and a first-round pick. A big move to cap off what was a pretty quiet deadline outside of these 3 trades, but they were 3 big trades. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of our deals. And that'll take us into the post-trade deadline portion of the episode, where we'll start at home against the 16-16 Los Angeles Sparks, who were a part of that big trade we just saw a second ago. So we'll see the LA debuts for both Courtney Vandersloot and that lady right there, Camila Cardoso, who will now be the true center for the Sparks. They got their front court of the future with Brink and Cardoso and Rakia Jackson at the 3. And with draft capital this offseason, I would imagine they're going to add another point guard in the offseason. But for now, it'll be Courtney Vandersloot for the rest of the season as we are underway here in Dallas. And it'll be the Sparks starting off first off the back of Cameron Brink. The Wings took over 2 minutes to score as here's Seegers with the first points off the pick and roll as we're tied up at 2 apiece. And the next drive is a nice steal there from Gisel Soler into the hands of Harris. Finds a leaking Bueckers, and the Dallas Wings will get out in front 4-2. But they'll have some resistance from the Sparks. Van Loo off the screen will drive inside, and she will score. That's the former Mystique Julie Van Loo starting at the 2 today for Los Angeles. Bueckers inside finds Uru, who scores the basket, and the Dallas Wings continue their early lead. Trey ball here, no good, and look at this, is Camila Cardosa getting an offensive board. We saw her do this when she was with Chicago against us, and well, looks like she's going to do the same thing against us here in Los Angeles, as there's a nice tray ball from Cameron Brink, the number 2 overall pick last year. Cardosa now works against Harris, as that's a mismatch epic proportions. And the newest Spark is off to a good start. Seegers, though, will drive past her and finish at the rim. Nice job there by the former Villanova Wildcat. 14-8 now your score, and Bueckers will try to do the same, as she will, cutting it to within a 4-point deficit. 14-10 now, Vandersloot inside for Cardosa, the 2 newest Sparks on the pick and roll. Not sure how long they'll be a duo. Vandersloot is older. She could retire at the end of the season, but I'm assuming Cardosa will be sticking around for the long haul here in Los Angeles, as there's Cannon inside, and Los Angeles is on quite a little bit of a run here. 18-10 now. Vandersloot inside as she scores at the basket. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter, where the Sparks lead this one 20-10. A very cold start for the Dallas offense, and they've had no answer for the post play of Los Angeles as they lead 20-10. Second quarter we go here. Miller inside for Uru as she scores against her former team. 20-12 now your score. Dearica Hamby, because of the trade, will move to the second unit for Los Angeles as she hits the turnaround here. Hamby's had a good season, 11 points per game, 9.3 rebounds per game as a starter. And her on the second unit will be very tough to stop, as here's a nice pick and roll inside that forces a timeout from Dallas as the Sparks lead now 24-12, trying to find an answer for the Sparks offense. Bueckers now in isolation, drives inside, blows right by the defense, splits Hamby and Cardoso. That's not easy to do. 24-14, Van Loo for three. She will miss, but look at Cardoso getting the offensive board. And it looks like we're going to have a hard time stopping that again. We've talked about the rebounding problem for the Wings. Well, when you go up against Camila Cardoso, Cameron Brink, and Dearica Hamby, those weaknesses are going to be on full display. Nice steal here by Bueckers with a clear path to the basket, and she will take that one easily. And the #1 overall pick out of UConn cuts it to within 8. Brink inside, matched up against Segrist, and she will score. Brink averaging 9 points per game this year in her second season after her rookie year was cut short via injury. It's a nice pass inside for Gisela Soder, cuts it within 8 again. The Sparks will call another timeout since we're inside 5 minutes in the first half. Off the miss, here's Bueckers with it. Want to swing it over to Harris, open for three. Gets a little bit of space, and she'll knock it down. Tasha Harris, who is held with the team, did not trade her in the offseason. Here she is getting matched up against Cardoso again, and that'll be easy points for Cardoso. Next drive for the Wings. Gisela Soder gets inside. She will score off the pick and roll, and the Wings continue to just run their offense through the pick and roll. Off the inbounds pass, nobody gets back, though, for Cardoso, and how do you let her get behind you? Out of all players, you let the best one get behind the defense. I don't get it. 34-25, Cardoso inside on Harris again. I'm not sure what is happening, but that's just going to be barbecue chicken for Camila Cardoso. Why is Harris continually getting matched up inside against her? As there's a three ball from the right side for Julie Van Loo. 39-31, this time it's against Uru, but it doesn't matter. Cardoso again. She has not missed a shot, by the way, including this one right here on the pick and roll, and the Sparks now lead by double digits again. 9 for 9, 18 points for Camila Cardoso in her Sparks debut. Harris will get it within 8 again as she hits on the layup. That'll bring us to the end of the first half, and the Sparks lead this one 43-35 as the Wings got off to a cold start. They've had no answer for the former South Carolina Gamecock Camila Cardoso, averaging a double-double this year with the Los Angeles Sparks. As both teams will head to the halftime report, 43-35. We'll take a look at the stats. Obviously, Camila leads the way, all scores with 18. Sparks shooting 48%. The Wings are shooting 50, so we're shooting the ball well, but we're getting out-rebounded by +8 because of the bigs of the Sparks. Uru's got to step up a little bit. Segrist, even though she's a little undersized, plays a little bit down low. And even Gisela Soder. And speaking of Uru, here she is starting the second half with a score. Here's the other big I just mentioned, Segrist on the offensive side, and she will miss as that one is a little bit too strong, but she gets a steal, and she goes right back to the basket. So good hustle play out of Maddie Segrist to recover the pass. 43-39 off of the three. That's Van Loo again. 7 points in the first half. She's got 3 here in the second. Tries another triple here, but Cardoso gets by Uru again and scores off the offensive rebound. 48-41. Gisela Soder challenges Cardoso on the offensive side. That's not easy, but she wins that battle. 48-43. Another miss on the Van Loo three. As Bueckers swings it out wide for Harris behind the defense, and that'll be a nice transition basketball. The Wings have it within a possession again. 48-45, Van Loo for three, can't connect, but Cardoso just bodies Uru out the way and gets the offensive board. She is literally unstoppable on the rebounding. We have nobody to even try to match her. On the other end of the floor, James for three, and she will hit it. The rookie from the corner as the Wings just try to keep pace with the Sparks. They got to find an answer underneath, and Segrist hits a three ball, and she gives the Wings the lead as the crowd's starting to come alive here in Texas. 56-52 now your score as Hamby works her way inside. It's a 2-point game. Hamby then against Harris, and she will win that one as well. Tasha Harris continuing to get isolated on the low block. Seems like it's been the game plan for the Sparks, and they've done it nicely. On the offensive side, though, here she is kissing it off the glass for two. That bucket will give the Wings the lead to the end of the third quarter, 60-56. The Wings come roaring back here in this frame and now have a lead. But we'll see if they can close this game out. That's been a problem for Dallas in the recent games. Bueckers will begin the fourth quarter with a score off the pick and roll. 6-point lead here for the Wings. Alamon over to Cardoso for three, and apparently she can hit the deep ball as well. If I'm a Sparks fan and I'm watching Cardoso's debut today, I am loving life. She can do everything for this team. Here's Bueckers again inside, though, as they get Cardoso out of the paint, and she's able to take advantage. 64-59, missed there from the Sparks. Paige with the rebound, drives by, finds Lopez, Senegal, and what a pass and what a finish. As the Wings now lead by 7, one of their largest leads of the night. So 7 minutes to go, there's a miss, but Hamby gets the offensive board. She misses. Cardoso skies for it, and she will get it up and in. Those are those second chance and sometimes even third chance points that she offers. 68-61 off the miss. Tips it over to Hamby, who misses. Tipped again over to Hamby. Inside for Cardoso, and she scores. I mean, come on. Somebody please grab the basketball. 68-63. The Wings trying to hold on as Paige will get to the basket again. This is where she starts trying to put the team on her back. 8 points in the quarter. She's got 24 on the night. As Cannon left open for 3. They try to double Cardoso. Well, she has the eyes to find the open 3 ball from the former ace, Emma Cannon. Inside, there's Cardoso finishing. She's in takeover mode, by the way. That's a 2-point lead for Dallas. Bueckers, though, gets inside, and she will score 72-68. And on the next possession, the tough pass, Cardoso corrals it. Finds Cannon, works inside on James, and Emma Cannon will score again. She's averaging 11 points off the bench as well for the Sparks, and now they got a couple of good bench options. 74-70, hop step inside, and one for Carmela Cardoso. Cuts it within 1 point. Segrist with it on the right side. Drives to the basket, and she will score. If you notice the Wings' game plan, they're trying to run pick and rolls against defenders with players who are not being guarded by Cardoso. Try to get her outside the paint. As there's a 3 ball from Bueckers. Sparks try to double. Gisa Solder, it doesn't work. Next possession here. Segrist with it. Another mismatch, this time on Vandersloot, draws another double, and again Paige is left open, and she hits back-to-back threes, and all of a sudden the Wings lead by 9 with 1:15 to go. Could we be closing in on a victory? Same score, 30 seconds. Bueckers inside, draws a foul, and an and one, and with that, that would be the dagger. The Wings win this game 84-75, snapping their losing streak, and finally get their 6th win of the season. That sounds so bad to say. But we beat the Sparks. A game where we got out-rebounded to oblivion. We still win this game. We shot 58% overall. I mean, despite 17-2 offensive rebounders favoring the Sparks. I mean, we got out-rebounded by 14 and still won this game. A good game. Bueckers with 36 led the way. Harris and Segrist with 13 apiece. I mean, they scored. They put the team on their back. Both Harris and Segrist shot over 50%. I mean, good supporting cast. Cardoso 34-16 her debut is sensational. Vandersloot only went 1 for 10. Other debuts, the Skies get blown out by the Valkyries despite Plum's first game in a Sky uniform putting up 12. They lose to the Valkyries. 7-point first quarter was just too much to overcome. We see the Fever then beat the Mystiques in the revenge game for Cunningham and Austin. Austin had 2 points for the Fever on 1 of 8 shooting, while Cunningham of the Mystique shot 50% and got 7 points. Other games, we see the Dream destroy the Storm, and then the Aces win by a point in Phoenix on what could be a finals preview for this year. These are the top 2 teams in the league, as Chelsea Gray led the way. The Lynx then beat the Liberty at home, a much-needed win for Minnesota, and we get some good news on the injury front, as J.J. Kennerly is now fully healthy before the game against the Aces, but it would not matter as we lost 99-66. I mean, where the heck is the defense? And Asia Wilson didn't even have the best game. We still get blown out by 33. The Fever then beat the Sun. The Sparks blow out the Mystiques to get some revenge after their loss to us. And the Storm get dominated again by the Mercury, and then the same thing happens to the Valkyries. They lose to the Dream. The next day, the Liberty beat the Lynx in a rematch, and the Mystiques beat the Sun. And again, the Storm get blown out by 32. What is happening to Seattle? They've been atrocious. Peely, the newest Sky, has 23 points. She came over in the trade. And then, I mean, Mabry's got 10. The Seattle, they've just fallen apart, getting blown out left and right. The Mercury beat the Valkyries, and then the Aces over the Dream, as our next game is against the Sparks, and we lose this one 97-75. So in back-to-back games, we've given up 99 and 97 points respectively. Not ideal on the defensive front. The Sun beat the Mystiques by 1 point. The Sky then beat the Liberty by 3. A big win on the road for Chicago. Ionescu's 21, not enough. And it was Peely again who led the way for Chicago. So it wasn't Plum, the newest Chicago, who had 13. It's Peely leading the way for the Sky. The Dream beat the Lynx, and the Mercury get revenge against the Aces. And we get some more good news on the injury front as Hines Allen is fully healthy. But then we get some bad news. Lee Uru out for the season with a strained left hip. But we played Seattle in that game, and we won 92-86. So the Storm are even losing to us. What is happening to Seattle? They've hit the full eject button. Mabry did lead the way for them, but it wasn't enough. The Lynx beat the Fever. They're trying to stay in the playoff race while the Mercury dominate the Valkyries. And then the Dream knock off New York. The Aces destroy the Mystiques. And the Sun beat the Sky 74-68. Tough loss there for Chicago. We then play the Valkyries and we win this one as well. That's 2 games in a row for Dallas, 87-76. As Hayes leads the way for Golden State, but we get the victory nonetheless. Other scores, the Storm get blown out by the Mystiques. What has happened to Seattle? And the Fever won a tough one against Minnesota. Liberty then beat the Sun, and the Aces knock off the Sky. And then to kind of end this one up, the Fever blow out the Storm. This is 9 straight losses for Seattle, and they haven't even looked pretty. I really don't know what's going on in Seattle, but they are just ejecting themselves from the playoffs. And they gave up a first-round pick at the trade deadline. The Sparks then beat the Mercury by a point. Big win for LA. And that'll take us to the end of this episode, where the next game we will play the Connecticut Sun. We've only seen them once this season. It was early on, and we lost by 3 in a game that we could not close out. A double-double for Tina Charles was the difference maker. But we've won 2 in a row, and we've only got 3 weeks left in the season. So let's end the season on some positives and try to get some wins. This season will be wrapped up this week, and the end of year number 1 is on the horizon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is a longer episode. We had a lot to cover today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop that like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more of my WNBA content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.